Hey guys, it's Throbbie here with Large Lads, and we're doing a tier list today for the best genres to develop a game in. Things that we're ranking it on is based on how big the scope it's going to be, how good it is for an indie studio specifically, and just how much knowledge you need to have to complete it. Well, let's get it started. So this one's a pre-made one. I'll drop the link for it in the description. I'll also drop our Steam page link, our YouTube link, and our Patreon link if you want to support us. So to start, we have 4X strategy. So I'm going to keep Steam up here too, so we can come out and see. I don't know. I don't have a repository of every single game in my head. I know there was just the 4X Steam sale just happened, so I've seen a bunch of 4X games, but just so I'm not pulling the wrong games out of here. Here we go. Steam 4X Fest. I knew this just happened. Age of Wonders. Hearts of Iron, I guess, is a 4X. Ooh. Okay, Civilization, obviously, that's one that I was thinking of. Jeez. Hearts of Iron, Europa, Victoria. As you can see, they're all in my library, and I play these a ton. But this isn't how fun they are to play. This is how hard they are to make. And I actually don't think that they're that hard to make as long as you're not doing something crazy like Victoria or Europa. If you're doing a game that's Civ adjacent or what's the old one? Oh man, it's gonna kill me. The old one, Age of Wonders. Oh man, this one's gonna kill me. I'm gonna put it up on the screen. Don't worry, but I cannot remember what it's called. I used to play this way back when. I actually don't think that they're that hard to make. I've actually done a course on building a 4X strategy game, and I think the fundamentals are pretty simple. It depends on how deep you go with it, but I would say in general it's not that hard. It doesn't require all that much knowledge. Does this tier only go to A? Let's change this up because this, we need an S tier. We don't just stop at A around here. And I got my colors all messed up. Okay. Oh, that's gonna bother me. I should have done this before the video, but I just realized. Sorry, guys. Stick with the program here, though. We're on 4X. Ooh. And then F tier is, who even knows how many F tier there's going to be, if there even is going to be one. This is your don't do it tier. But 4X, you can do it. And I don't think it's all that hard, actually, as far as some of these games are concerned. I think popularity is going to bring you down some, because I think there's a lot of good 4X strategy games, so yours has to be pretty good to compete. So I think that's what's going to keep it from being A or S, but 4X strategy, it's not that hard to make. I'm going to say B. There's actually some good 4X strategy games that are indies. We'll jump back over here, see if it's on here. I know I had it wishlisted at one point. And again, if I can't find it, I'm going to have to post it up here. Well, Northgard is Shiro Games. Is this an indie studio? Oh, this is the publisher. Or it's the publisher and the developer. Okay, well, they're probably not an indie studio. I thought that was an indie game. Is there really any good indie titles here? I think that's a big question to ask. Sometimes you just have to let the market tell you if a game is good, a good indie game or not. And not seeing anything that I can directly recognize as indie probably makes me feel like I should drop it down to C, huh? Oh, that's what we're going to do. We're going to drop it down to C. I'm going to say 4X strategy C. I don't think they're that hard to make. If you just want a playable game, I think if you wanted to have one that was, if you love 4X strategy games, this is definitely, you can make this. You can get away with making this. Is kind of what I'm getting at here. So I think it's pretty good. I don't think it's that bad. Action. Action is so broad, especially with all the things on this list. Action. I need to see what's else on this list. Shoot 'em up is on here. That's kind of what I would that's what I, for third-person shooter, first-person shooter, shoot 'em up is kind of what I envision in my head when you say action. I might not even rank action because I think it's too broad. I'm not even going to rank it because I think it's too broad. Dungeon crawler. I think dungeon crawlers are awesome, and I think they're really doable. There's some really cool dungeon crawlers out there. Game I'm playing right now, again, is... They just came out with a second one. Darkest Dungeon. Darkest Dungeon is a really cool game. Dungeon crawlers are pretty awesome, actually. I think, you know, not to tip anybody off here, but I think our upcoming game, our next game after the one that we're making, is actually going to be a dungeon crawler, so stay tuned for that. I don't think we really even need to look up dungeon crawler games in categories, but maybe just to give some games some shout-outs that we do like. Oh, what's the one, too? There's another one that we play. Let's see, Diablo 4, Path of Exile, Hades. I guess they are dungeon crawlers. I don't think of them when I think of a dungeon crawler, though. Core Keeper. Here we go, Barony. This one's really fun if you've never played this. Barony is a really fun one. I think they're pretty up. I think they're pretty high up. I think at A tier. I think dungeon crawler is going to be A tier for sure. A fighting game. Think Tekken, Mortal Kombat. Brawlhalla is maybe a better example of one that is more doable, but I think it's pretty low. I think it's hard to compete with the big ones. I think people don't know who you are. I think that they have to be really smooth to even be fun. You have to have really good combos. I think it takes a lot of expertise to make the game. I think it's probably D tier. An action RPG. Unfortunately, I don't think for an indie studio, I think it's just not really doable unless it's super small scale, which it might not be even fun, because most RPGs, people are expecting them to last 40 hours. And if you give somebody a 6-hour action RPG, they're probably not going to be, too happy, I don't think. So I think D tier is probably a good spot for action RPG. I think that one's pretty straightforward to me. Fighting an action RPG, probably you want to stay away from them. If you love them, tough luck probably, but hey, go for it. Arcade. This is another one where it's very broad, but I think this one's a little bit more easy to say. If you're going to make like a classic pixel arcade game, like a Pac-Man or Space Invaders type style game, you know, I think it's easy to make, but will it be marketable and sell? Probably not. I think that's E tier. Next we have Battle Royales. And I think that they're pretty low on there too. They're multiplayer and massively multiplayer. This might be F tier. I don't think that it's even realistic to pull off a Battle Royale. I think there's one cool spin on it. Maybe if you had a Battle Royale where it was all against AI, maybe that could be doable. But as far as a Battle Royale with multiplayer, there's just no way, I don't think. That server structure and I think every Battle Royale that's hot on the market right now has massive teams behind it. I just don't think that that's reasonable to pull off here. Beat 'em up. I'm gonna have to look up exactly what a beat 'em up game is. I'm thinking it's one where it's like I know there's like lots of side scroller games where you kind of walk. Beat 'em up. This is what I'm thinking of in my head. I mean, is where you just walk side to side and just beat people up. Pretty doable. I guess I really can't even find it as a Steam category. I remember Tekken had a mode like this that was a beat 'em up mode, but that's really my only experience playing one. I think they're pretty low on the list. I don't think people really... Well, it's probably C tier because they're easy to make, I'm sure, right? A beat 'em up game, but then that could also be... Is that also like Batman? The Batman games are kind of beat 'em up games, and they're 3D, kind of third person. I think it's E tier. I think to make it marketable, it's really hard to make, and then the ones that are easy to make just aren't marketable. I'd say it's E tier. Board game. Ooh. Board game. Who the hell is buying board games on Steam? Am I missing a genre here? I would say this isn't even a genre. And I could just totally be wrong. Blood Bowl? The thing is things like Uno you just could never make because you'd have to license it. But Blood Bowl, I've played that, and that is kind of like a board game, isn't it? Business Tour. Oh, okay, so like these like hex style, like Warhammer board. Okay, I could see that actually. Jack in the Box. This is what I was thinking, the Jackbox Party Pack. But I was thinking this is a party game, which I think is on this list. I swear I saw party game on this list. Oh, party game. Yeah. I'm going to say, I think we're just not going to rank it because I think that all the board games are kind of blends of other games, and I think that we're going to cover all your board games here. So I'd say board game, it could work, but it's generally a different genre. A card game. Well, they're pretty popular right now. And we were actually thinking about making a specific kind of card game, which is probably still on the table, but I think it can be done well. I think it gets done well a lot. We might be on the tail end. I think it's going to be lower in the B tier. But these are really UI, UX heavy games, and as long as you're good at that and you can make a fun, compelling style of the card game, I think this can work. Collectathon. So this is like Mario, Spyro, things like this, I'm thinking. I think they're easy to make. I'm not sure they're marketable. Let's see if it's going to give me a collectathon here on Steam. Collectathon. Is there any recent popular collectathon games? See, I think of this as a simulator game, not a collectathon. Clicky Clicker, I don't think of as a collectathon. Horny Villa, good God. Spyro. Spyro's the thing is, some of these really established brands, they are going to sell. This is like an idler. So all of these collectathons, I guess I want to say that I haven't heard of, seem like that they're idlers. Maybe not this one, though. Yeah, I'm pretty happy keeping this one pretty low. It might even be below beat 'em up, actually. I don't think this is really the kind of style game people really buy that much anymore, unless they're the Spyros or Crash Bandicoots or things like that they already have a big loyal fan base. Oh no, not the jeans. Dating sim. I feel like there's some freaks out there that buy this, so I'm gonna say C because I'm pretty sure they're very easy to make with a good artist. If you have a good artist, I think dating sim could be an S tier game actually. I almost want to put it higher. There's some gooners out there for real. It feels like it should be over 4x, but it feels bad having 4x that low. I'm going to move 4x, and I'm going to put dating sim up. And I'm going to put dating sim above 4x. Nothing in C right now. I think there's a lot of gooners out there. I think as long as you have a good artist, it's probably free money just sitting there. First person shooter. I think C. There's big ones. And then there's a ton of AA, AAA shooter. There's a ton of AA first-person shooters, I should say, and I think there's also some good indie first-person shooters. You think like Super Hot, but with engines like Unreal, I think you can pull off a first-person shooter that's pretty good and it doesn't take as much work as you would think it would. How well it'll sell, I'm not really sure, but I think it might sell better than these and be easier to make than all of these. Maybe not easier to make than these, but I think it'll sell better than a beat 'em up or a collectathon. I think that's pretty good there. FMV, which I had to look this up, is these are like those old like 2000s ones, I guess. I don't know when they're from, where they have like movies in them. I literally had to look this up before I started recording. Okay, if you're making 5 hearts under one roof, I bet you're making a lot of money. I didn't realize people still made these, actually. I didn't even look at it on Steam. What am I looking at? Okay, that's not any of the ones that I was thinking of. I was thinking, good lord. I didn't realize people make these. Like this. And I think I've seen this one. This one is probably an indie game is my guess, but okay. It's actually going to be lower than I thought it was, because even these ones that look like they have a lot of production quality, like this, only have 1,600 reviews. It seems like there's a lot of production quality behind these. I mean, this guy's wearing a suit of armor here. I mean, what is this? They have a whole movie here. The Operator, have I seen this? I think I have seen this. They're really popular, but they're probably really, really good. That's going to be a C tier. Actually, it might even be an E tier. I think that's going to be an E tier. Next is open world. We all know what an open world game is. I think that it's so broad, we just drop it in C. It can have a huge scope, which can kill you. But I think a lot of people just, as soon as they hear it's an open world game, they're kind of just interested. So I think marketing on an open world will be easy. Generally, if you have the assets, especially if you're using, I use Unreal, so this is why I keep going back to Unreal. But when you go on Fab and you can buy a whole bunch of assets and make a world look really good, and the look of the world is kind of all the marketing you need for an open world game. So it can be marketed really, really well. For it to be perfect, there's just no way most people are going to pull that off. Pretty much no teams pull that off. But I think just if you're looking to make a game that has sales, I think open world, you could do a lot worse with open world. Party game, I think party games are actually pretty good. I think party game, we're going to pull up some popular party games. There's one that I played a lot of that I'm trying to remember. Party game, oh, party based, no, party game, we're looking for party game. Party Animals, Jackbox Party, Ultimate Chicken Horse, I've seen this one too. Pico Park, I think I've played this. Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. Never played it, heard of it though. Pummel Party, this one was popular. All these party games seem to be 48,000, 17,000. And that's the thing, is that they're multiplayer, which is generally not good, but I don't think it takes, these aren't these crazy hard to optimize multiplayer games. Among Us, this might be higher than where I have it. Where do I have it? This might be an A tier. I think party games are pretty legit, and I think that they have the potential to pop off more than any of the other ones. They might be more of a gamble. If they're not fun, they're just not going to be popular. But if they are really fun, I mean, you could sell a ton if you have a really good idea for one. Hack and slash. I mean, I know what hack and slash is, but let's see if we can get some specific games to draw from. I think it's pretty good because I don't think it's that hard to make. Sekiro, this is more of a, I'm thinking Diablo is kind of a hack and slash. Castle Crashers. Is there any games out there that are just hack and slash? Like that's all you do is just run around and just mess people up? I feel like you could do worse than hack and slash, but they don't seem to be that popular unless they have other big mechanics in them. And I think it's right there with first-person shooter. A hero shooter, nobody cares about your hero shooter, honestly, in the nicest way. Huge companies don't pull off hero shooters, so, you know, sorry. Unless you own Marvel, or maybe you can make DC Rivals next and maybe you'll make a good hero shooter, but unless you do, I don't think you're pulling it off. I think you just stay away from it. Anything with huge multiplayer fights and stuff like this, I just think that as a solo dev or an indie team, which is what we all are, or most of us are, if you're actually deving, just hero shooter is just not really feasible. Hidden object. I didn't know this was a genre. I actually don't know what this means. What is hidden object? I'm astonished this is actually on here. Hidden object. Is this like where's Waldo? I mean, can they be that bad if there's so many on here and they're all indie? It has to be really easy to make. Now, the fact that I've never heard of any of these games probably isn't good. I think I've heard of Shipping. Maybe I haven't heard of it. Never mind. I've seen one of these games before. I couldn't tell you which one. Yeah, I think these are probably better than I think they are. I'm gonna say Horror's S tier. Horrors is the absolute. The first game I ever made was Horror, and you just get they're very mechanically simple and they're very easy to market. And those are really the two biggest criteria on making a game. Is it how hard is it to make? How marketable is it? And they check. It's S tier in both, so it has to be S tier. Horror is perfect. If you've never made a game, I actually recommend that you make a horror game first, even if you don't really care for it. I don't really care for horror that much. That was the first game that I made. Nothing really else to say about that. Life simulator. Is this like Sims, or is this like any kind of like work simulator? Because this could be also S tier. Life and immersive sims. That's what we're gonna go for this. Even though this category says life simulator, we're gonna go life and immersive sims, which, I mean, there's really just so many to choose from here. Power wash simulator. I think they're really easy to make too. This is actually also gonna be an S tier. Metroidvania. So, actually, we were working on a Metroidvania in Godot a while ago, and we ended up pulling the plug on it because it was actually way more difficult than we thought. I think when you plan it, and you don't want to just do a platformer because platformer seems too basic, you end up going with Metroidvania, and you say, well, let's do a platformer with more fun movement and combat. Well, it turns out that it actually is a lot of work to do. It's not low on the list. It's in the B tier for sure. I feel like I have to give it a little bit more credit though. I feel like it was at the start of our journey and we kind of just gave up on it, but I'm going to put it a little bit higher than maybe I would have wanted to put it because there are some awesome indie Metroidvanias, so I can't say it's not It is a good game style. You just have to really love it. MMORPG, don't do it. MOBA, don't do it. Huge team. Same. The Battle Royale Hero Shooter MMORPG MOBA. We get why they're all F tier. Those are things that huge companies make. 90% of them fail. I just don't think that there's. I don't. They're just not feasible for small teams. So platformer. Now, even though platformer is easier than Metroidvania, people don't buy your platformers. They buy your platformers like they buy your beat 'em ups and collectathons and your arcade games. That's the problem with these platformers. Unless you have a really, really cool, unique spin. Now, some people do sell platformers like crazy. Well, not platformers. They'll sell a platformer. Will be a big hit. It has to be spectacular. And I know everybody, wants to make a game that's really good, but generally, when you're making games as an indie dev, especially if you're a first time or second time, if it's your first game or your second game, it's not going to be spectacular. Or it might. Who knows? If you spend a lot of time on it. Maybe it will be spectacular, but generally speaking, I'm going to say it's E tier. It's right there with Beat 'em Up Collectathon. If you're the GOAT, it's probably S tier, but if you're the GOAT, everything's probably the S tier, so. Point and click. What is point and click? Is this like The Grim Fandango, or is that like a narrative adventure? I don't know. Is there a narrative adventure on here? Text-based? Text adventures? That's probably Grim Fandango. I don't know what point and click would even be. That's really broad, it seems like. Point and click adventures? This is kind of what I'm thinking then, isn't it? Well, that looks like fun, actually. Disco Elysium. This is like a narrative adventure to me, but maybe I don't know. Papers, Please. Seat Taken. I see. I see. Point and click. It's right up there with Hidden Object. Because I don't think it's really just point and click. I could be wrong. Point and click adventure. I'm going to put, where's it? Text adventures. Right up here. I'm just going to do this early. I kind of lump these two together. I think they're pretty good. I think you have to have a good narrative team. So if you're not a good writer, they're bad. But I don't think you would ever make this kind of game unless you thought you were a good writer. So I think they'd be pretty good. Okay, simulator. Simulator and life simulator I'm going to put in the same category. They're the same thing to me. If anything, I can move life simulator lower. If you're thinking like specifically like The Sims, then it would probably be much lower. But I'm going to lump these together and say these simulator games are awesome. They sell awesome, and they're not that hard to make. So, Soulsborne, or Souls-alike as we call it now. I think it's be right there. I think there's actually a lot of them. It's like making a first-person shooter nowadays. I think it's actually an equivalent where you have your first-person shooter, and then your Souls-like is just your first-person shooter, but you don't have a gun. You have a sword or a weapon, or like a hand weapon. So I think that Soulsbornes are cool, and if you make a really cool one, good for you. But generally speaking, it's I think what it is people really like these games. They want to make them, and they just don't have the production behind it to actually make a really, really good one. Puzzle games. Super easy to make, I think, but if it's just based on a puzzle and it's not Portal, or some of these other games, but they're just hard to be compelling. I don't think people really buy puzzle games like that. And that kind of gets us to the next one, is racing games. Probably is going to be F tier to D tier. I'll say D tier if you do like a Mario Kart type thing. If you want to do like a real racing game, to get the car to feel right, and there's obviously going to be licenses if you want to use any real life cars or any real life organizations, like if it's like a F1 thing or a NASCAR thing. I just don't really think it's feasible. A rail shooter. A rail shooter. I'm really shocked at some of these genres. I'm shocked that they actually exist. On-rail shooter. I see. Anyway. No, I'm joking. No, I think it's low. I think they're probably easy to make, but never in my life have I ever seen. I mean, this is like this is something that you would like. It seems like you'd go to Dave and Buster's and play them. All jokes aside, none of these are very popular at all. It doesn't seem like. Oh well, I say that this one looks pretty good. Oh, these are like VR games. Okay, I'm not looking at any of these as a VR way. I'm gonna say it's bottom of D tier. If you are a VR dev, it probably is higher, but as not a VR dev, I'm going to say it's really low. RTS games are awesome. I think RTS games are right there with 4X games. I think they're right above it. Actually, I think they're right up there with card games. I think the 4X games can be really, really... I think they're pretty much the same real-time in 4X, and I think the 4X games are just generally going to be more complex, so it makes sense to have them a little lower, but real-time... I think you can make some really good RTS games, and I even think you can make a multiplayer one and have it not be too bad. I think they're pretty good. Roguelike? I think roguelike is right there at the top of A tier with the simulator. Actually, I'm going to take Life Simulator and put it down here because it's going to throw me off. But I think Horror Simulator, Roguelike Dungeon Crawler, Party, we might not have anything that's better than those. Those might be the best games to make, in my opinion, as this whole list is. Rhythm. Pretty low. Pretty low. You have to get licenses for music. Actually, I'm going to say it's F tier. It's like the only actual indie game that you can make that's an F tier. Actually, I'm not going to say it's F tier, because you can make one. There's that, like, trombone player one. That's an indie game. The thing is, you have to own the rights to the music, or you have to have a big modding community that's going to make the songs and add them into your game. So I'd say Rhythm is really, really low. It's probably not really doable. But hey. Sandbox. Well, sandbox. I mean, I'm thinking a survival sandbox is like what I'm thinking of when I'm thinking. I think sandbox might be too broad because I think any of these things could have sandbox elements. So we'll say survival, which I think they're actually. I think they're pretty good. I think you can make a good survival game. Games like Don't Starve. There's even like first-person ones out there that Ark is not. I played a lot of Ark and Rust, but they're huge now, obviously. But and Ark was made with a big studio, but I think doing some of these survival ones, like the Raft survival game, it's very doable for an indie team, and I think that's a pretty good genre to go. They might even be higher. I mean, I could even say that they're. I think Metroidvania actually should be behind RTS card game and survival. I'd say survival's right up there. I think survivals are cool. Shoot 'em up. Like. Shoot 'em up. I think shoot 'em up is pretty good. I'm thinking like a Bullet Storm or Bullet Hell game, whatever they call them, which is also kind of going to be a. Oh, am I blind? Oh, roguelike. Yeah. So some of these shoot 'em up games. This is shoot 'em up in general. I would say if they're a roguelike shoot 'em up, I think it's A tier probably. If it's a shoot 'em up game that's not, probably is not as great. Honestly, I think you should go the roguelike way if you're going to do a shoot 'em up. Sports game. Probably down here with Rhythm. I think you can make a sports game easier than you can make a Rhythm. The problem is people really only play sports games. Sports gamers only like sports games that are gonna use like the real life teams and stuff like that, which you can't make. But if you have like a cool thing like like Blood Bowl would be a sports game, and granted that was made by a big studio, but that's a cool idea on how you could do spins on sports and have really cool games. So. I'll put sports games down there. I think it's. If you have a really cool idea, you can pull it off. Stealth? Yeah, I think it's. Stealth as a genre is just really broad, I think. I think it's cool, though. I think there's there's surely some cool stealth games out there. We can look at some. I'm thinking like this is kind of a stealth game, isn't it? That's kind of like a horror game. Predator Hunting Grounds. I haven't even seen this. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, okay, I see. So most of these stealth games, it looks like that they're actually horror games with stealth elements. So I would say if it's a stealth game, because I'm thinking like the old like Splinter Cell games or old old games like that. They probably just aren't going to sell well. But if you're using stealth elements for other things, I think it's pretty good. But if if it's a stealth game, C tier probably. City Builder, I actually think City Builders aren't that bad either. I think they're actually right there with RTS. I think City Builder and RTS are actually neck and neck. They could really go either way. There's actually, I'm gonna put it higher because I even put it over. I'm actually gonna put City Builder up here because now that I'm thinking about it, 99% of the good city builders out there are all indie games. It feels like, at least. I think city builder is an awesome way to go. I love city builders. I'd love to make a city builder. I don't think the rest of the rest of the large lads really love city builders like I do. So we probably won't have one, but I think that they're really doable. Actually, I think they're really high. This might be biased though. I think city builders are cool. VR. As a not VR dev, well, I'm just gonna throw it here. Actually, if you really want the real answer, what I think it's. I don't think people really buy these VR games. I think the market is just not there. I think it's right there with arcade games. I think if you're a VR dev and you do specifically VR and you're really good at it, yes, VR is obviously what you're gonna do. If you're anyone else and you're like, if I had to pick anything, I mean, VR is probably realistically, it's probably here, but you know. I don't want people to hate me. I don't want the VR community to be up in arms, but I think it's really bad. I don't think you should do VR, actually. That's my opinion. Hey, that's my opinion. Blow me up in the comments. I'll take the engagement. Tactical RPG. So I'm thinking tactical RPG. That's interesting, because I was thinking like CRPGs, but I don't know what a tactical RPG is. Oh, this guy, whoever made this list, actually came to Steam and pulled up these. Tactical RPG. Expeditions Rome. RimWorld. RimWorld is fun. RimWorld is awesome. But if RimWorld's really the only example, so here's like a CRPG. I'm going to say like we include like the CRPG party-based combat RPGs. And if we do, I think it's pretty good. I think the problem is that it's still an RPG. I think RPGs are so hard to make. They have to be really good. I think it's the top of C tier because you kind of have a point-and-click text adventure that is also a party-based combat game, and you're just making it way more difficult, but you're also making it more marketable. So, actually, and what we're going to do, we're going to drop this down here, point-and-click, and these text adventures are going to be all of these text and point-and-click adventures and all that stuff, just so everybody's in on it. And I think it's going to be up here. I think tactical RPG, it's really marketable. It's really marketable, I think. If you can make one, it's really marketable. Third-person shooter is right above first-person shooter. Right below it. It's right below it, actually. First-person shooter, you don't have to look at your character the whole game. So your character's animations don't have to be the most polished. Third person, you do look at your character the whole game. They have to be really good, and then whatever your character's wearing or things like this, it makes it way more difficult. It's actually below hack and slash, but it's above stealth. Turn-based strategy. Turn-based tactics. These are all what I'm considering this tactical RPG, but let's say we're going to take tower defense. Tower defense is really cool, actually, so I'm actually going to throw it in C. I know that seems weird because people can't really think of a lot of tower defense games, but there's games like, I think like They Are Billions is a good one, and then there's another city builder. I think it's something, No Diplomacy, or Diplomacy's Not an Option, I think it's called, actually. Diplomacy's Not an Option, and this is a city builder, but it's really a tower defense game, and it's pretty awesome. I actually really enjoy that game. Turn-based strategy. This is like, I'm thinking like classic Civilization is like a turn-based strategy, or like turn-based combat games where it's like your party, but it's all turn-based, which is kind of into the tactical RPG realm. And I would say turn-based strategy is going to be top of C tier, along with turn-based tactics. I think to me they're the same thing. I know somebody's saying, well, strategy and tactics aren't the same, but to me they're the same. So, in this context at least, not in real life, but. Visual novel. I think it's the hardest one to do. This is like a clearly art game, and you have to have really good art and a really good narrative to pull this off, I think. Unless it's like a sex schooner game. Then, whatever. But in my head, everyone here is just not a sex schooner developer. So if you are, actually, that might be S tier. So, but hey, so here's our list. I like it from left to right. So horror simulator, roguelike, dungeon crawler, party, city builder, survival, card game, RTS, Metroidvania, dating sim, 4X strategy, tactical RPG, text adventure, hidden object, turn-based strategy, turn-based tactics, tower defense, shmup, Soulsborne or Souls-like. I don't know why it's Soulsborne, but maybe that's actually what they're called. First-person shooter, hack and slash, third-person shooter, stealth, open world, visual novel, puzzle, FMV, forget what it stands for, platform, full movie video, it's my guess. Platformer, beat 'em up, collectathon, arcade, fighting, action RPG, racing, rail shooter, sport, rhythm, VR, battle royale, hero shooter, MMORPG. Actually should be last place, by the way. Don't make that. Actually, this is last place. MOBA. We get it. Okay? So hopefully you enjoy the video. Hopefully you agree. Hopefully, hopefully you disagree. I don't know. But I do appreciate you guys watching the whole thing. If you did, check out all of our socials and like and subscribe. Thanks so much, guys.